When I finished reading the Demon Slayer manga, boy was I sad. I'm eternally grateful to the author for extending the story to show us their lives after the final battle, specifically where everyone ended up after getting reincarnated. This at least gave us a form of happy ending us fans desperately needed. That being said, it made me wonder what kind of jobs would our favorite Demon Slayer characters have if they were really living in the modern world. For example, what do you think Rengoku or Inosuke would be doing? I'll answer Inosuke at the end of the video, but for Rengoku, he'd be like one of those energetic YouTubers with a sunshine personality who makes videos about how to do simple, ordinary stuff that no one really teaches you how to do. We're all familiar with a legendary YouTube channel called Dad How Do I. In Rengoku's case, it'd be Bro How Do I. He'll be everyone's beloved internet brother. And what about Daki? She's definitely got both the looks and the attitude you need to make it as an actress. And as for her brother Gyutaro, he'd be the guy making sure no one gets too close to his sister. He'd be both her manager and her bodyguard. Honestly, this sounds pretty sweet. They'd be making big bucks and simply enjoying the fame. A stark contrast to what happened to him in the Demon Slayer story. Now we're gonna go through modern day careers of all the other major Demon Slayer characters one by one. Stick with me till the end, guys, cause this video is about to get more interesting with each passing minute. For Zenitsu, he'd be a musician. Nothing crazy. It's just that he'd get rejected so many times and in so many different ways that he'll eventually end up as a music artist who continues to churn out the saddest, most relatable music you'll ever listen to. Legend has it, he was the one who literally invented rock music, and it all started in a shamisen performance in the entertainment district. Next, there's Genya and Sanemi, and this one's actually pretty straightforward, because in the extras, it was mentioned that he and Sanemi became police officers after getting reincarnated. Of course, Genya becoming a police officer makes sense. He practiced American breathing after all. But if we're talking about Sanemi, he'll start off as a police officer, get on his superior's bad side after a few arguments, and then eventually become a yakuza because he can't handle formalities. Still, even if Genya is a police officer and Sanemi is a yakuza boss, they'll still be enjoying drinks together. Muzan will reincarnate as Michael Jackson. Plain and simple. Do I need to say more? We've already talked about Gyutaro and Daki. As for the other upper moons, here's how it's gonna go. Kaigaku would be a toxic corporate leech who would do anything for a promotion. Gyoko would go from publishing his art online to becoming a Reddit mod because no one understands his art. He'd become a fierce keyboard warrior, commenting and complaining about artists who have made it. Hantengu has a personality disorder, so let's make him a streamer. Akazan would be running a famous martial arts dojo. He'll be taking disciples and teaching them the way of the fist in some rural region. He'll also grow his own food with his students, alongside with his wife and father-in-law, living a wholesome, happy life. Doma is charismatic and manipulative by nature, which will make him the perfect fit for running a large-scale, multi-level marketing scheme. He'd make other people scam people for the sake of growing his wealth. That or he'd become a cult leader. Then there's Kokoshibo. He'd definitely be a politician. Maybe I'm giving him too much credit, but Kokoshibo would be pretty good at it too. He'll be a master manipulator who pulls all the strings, gets what he wants, and makes everything bad look like someone else's fault. These will be the jobs of the upper moons. Next, we're doing the Hashira. Guillaume loves cats. This is canon, by the way, and he's a gentle soul by nature, so he'll definitely end up owning a pet shelter named Namu, especially for orphan kittens. Just think about it. Guillaume smiling and patting the heads of all these cute kittens. We can have a spin-off anime in another genre about this. Mitsuri is basically Goku or Luffy when it comes to food. That's why I think she'd be a legendary mukbang celebrity. She'll start off by winning local food eating competitions and ultimately make a name for herself to the point that she starts getting invited to things like Mr. Beast videos. Of course, if Mitsuri is a world-renowned internet foodie, Obanai would be like one of the Instagram husbands, the one behind the scenes filming and editing, whereas Mitsuri will be in front of the camera. Because it doesn't matter what universe they're in, these two will always be together. Muichiro would actually make for an amazing drama light and smoke technician, since he's so gifted with the dramatic misty effects. Giyu would be a librarian. He's quiet and selfless, and knows genuine people when he sees them. Any naughty students yapping in the library, just one stoic death stare from him is enough to make them all zip up. Becoming a librarian would also help him make friends, I guess, so it's two birds with one stone. Shinobu is a bit complicated, but I say that she'd be a science teacher. Imagine she walks in a classroom full of unruly kids, but her half-angry and half-pleased smile immediately makes them stop talking and rush back to their seats. Plus, Shinobu does have her maternal, nurturing side, as we see in how she takes care of Kanao and Inosuke. Then there's Tengen. He's as flashy as they come, so I'd say he could be a movie director to bring his flamboyant visions to life. He'd be creating banger films and just straight up pushing the cinematic boundaries. His films would be like Great Gatsby on steroids. Moving on from the Hashira, we'll now be doing some other important characters. For example, what kind of modern-day job do you think Yorichi would do? He'd be a vagabond like Miyamoto Musashi, but the thing is, there are still plenty of vagabonds all around the world. You can search up the internet and find plenty of communities. Basically, these are the kind of individuals who wander from place to place without a home or job. Yoriichi would be like a modern-day version of him, and he'd also write a book about his random travels. Then we have Tamayo and Yushiro, reincarnated to modern life. These two will finally be together, so how about we make it so they run a cutting-edge medical research facility together? Tamayo will be the professor, while Yushiro will be her assistant. They'll both work relentlessly to find new ways to overcome rare and harmful diseases. They may even be the ones to find a cure to cancer. Uboyashiki would be like one of those mysterious philanthropists who use their generational wealth and influence to fund charitable causes and also help those in need. He'd be doing stuff like this from the shadows without revealing his name. There's also Urokodaki. He's a mentor figure, so having him as a sports coach would do wonders for whichever team he ends up coaching. He'll be strict, but also caring and genuine in his approach. Haganezuka, the swordsmith, would likely be a blacksmith in the modern day who forges custom-made swords for collectors, martial artists, and enthusiasts. But he would also apply his skills to a wide range of other badass metalworking projects like wheel rims or stuff like that. Aoi from Shinobu's Butterfly Estate is honestly so underrated for how she manages things. She could be an awesome daycare center manager and could even be a school counselor as a side gig. Kanao is a simple one, but she knows how to act when things go south. She would excel as an EMT, emergency medical technician. She's super calm, even in stressful situations, so she'd be great at it. She'll have to do a lot of studying though, but a diligent soul like her wouldn't mind the grind at all because it'll be for the greater good. Finally, we have Tanjiro and Nezuko. What do you think our main character duo will be doing if they were here in the modern day world? I think Tanjiro would be the perfect psychiatrist, while Nezuko would be a badass nurse. Think about it. He's always been super empathetic and compassionate, even towards demons. He tries to understand where people are coming from and never judges them harshly. That's the kind of person you'd want as your psychiatrist, right? Someone who listens to you without judgment and really tries to get what you're going through. Someone who sees you more than just a client. Tanjiro's emotional intelligence is unmatched. He'll help you get out of your downward spiral. And as for Nezuko being a nurse, it goes without saying because she's such a gentle and caring soul. She is Tanjiro's sister, so her empathy and emotional intelligence is also in the same tier. She'd be like a rock for her patients and their families, providing support and reassurance when they need it most. Together, they'd be helping people heal both mentally and physically. Alright guys, finally, it's time to address what Inosuke would be doing if he was in the modern world. Yeah, I've got the perfect idea. If Inosuke was in the modern world, he'd be a wilderness survival expert like Bear Grylls. He'd still be doing the same crazy stuff he must have done growing up, like climbing mountains, wrestling bears, and eating wild animals. But in this case, he'd be getting paid as well. Of course, that also means that our good old Inosuke will get his very own survival TV show. Imagine Inosuke teaching people how to make shelters out of sticks and leaves, how to catch fish with their bare hands, or how to navigate using the stars. Do you think these jobs are fitting for him? Now, if you got a character in mind that we didn't mention, go ahead and drop a comment about what job that character would have in the modern world. If you enjoyed this video, I also swapped all the genders of fan favorite Demon Slayer characters here.